Welcome to Daily Garden Fix, where container gardening dreams become thriving realities, and every pot tells a success story. Today we're diving into something that could save your plants, your money, and your gardening confidence. The 7 critical mistakes that turn beautiful container gardens into heartbreaking disasters. I've watched too many enthusiastic gardeners give up on their container dreams because they unknowingly made these common but devastating errors. The truth is, container gardening isn't just gardening in pots. It's a specialized skill with its own rules, secrets, and potential pitfalls that can make or break your growing success. Whether you're working with a tiny balcony, a sprawling patio, or just want to add portable beauty to your outdoor space, containers offer incredible possibilities. But here's what most people don't realize. The same techniques that work beautifully in ground gardens can spell disaster when applied to container growing. The confined space, limited soil volume, and unique drainage challenges create a completely different growing environment that demands its own expertise. Before we save your containers from certain doom, show your commitment to container gardening success by hitting that like button. Share this video with anyone who's ever watched a beautiful container planting slowly decline into disappointment. Subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. We're building a community of container gardening champions, and every subscription helps us reach more gardeners who need this life-saving information. Now let's prevent these disasters before they happen. Container gardening seems deceptively simple, doesn't it? Choose a pot, add soil, plant some flowers, and watch them grow. But this oversimplified approach is exactly what leads to the heartbreak of watching beautiful plants slowly decline despite your best intentions. The reality is that container gardening is both more forgiving and more demanding than traditional garden beds. More forgiving because you control every aspect of the environment: soil quality, drainage, placement, and plant selection. More demanding because plants depend entirely on you for their survival. In the ground, roots can spread wide seeking nutrients and water. In containers, plants are completely at your mercy. When container gardening goes wrong, it goes spectacularly wrong. Plants that should thrive for months instead struggle for weeks. Beautiful arrangements become leggy, yellowing disappointments. Expensive plants die mysterious deaths despite careful watering and good intentions. But here's the amazing thing. Once you understand these 7 critical mistakes and how to avoid them, container gardening becomes incredibly rewarding. Your plants will thrive like never before. Your neighbors will ask for your secrets, and you'll wonder why container growing ever seemed difficult. Mistake 1: choosing the wrong container size. The biggest killer of container plants isn't disease, pests, or neglect. It's living in containers that are simply too small for their needs. This mistake destroys more container gardens than all other factors combined. Yet it's completely preventable once you understand the hidden mathematics of root space. Most gardeners dramatically underestimate how much soil volume plants actually need. That adorable 6-inch pot might look perfect for your tomato seedling, but tomatoes need at least 20 gallons of soil to reach their potential. Those beautiful annual flowers crammed into tiny decorative pots will struggle in anything less than 12 inches of width and depth. Here's the truth that transforms container success. Plants need exponentially more root space than most people imagine. Small containers create a cascade of problems. They dry out within hours on hot days, nutrients get depleted rapidly, roots become cramped and stressed, and plants never reach their full potential despite perfect care. The solution isn't just bigger containers, but understanding minimum requirements for different plant types. Herbs need at least 8-inch depths, vegetables require 12-20-gallon capacities, depending on variety, and even annual flowers perform dramatically better in containers 12 inches or larger. When in doubt, always size up. Your plants will reward you with stronger growth, longer blooming periods, and much more resilience to weather stress. But even the perfect container size won't save your plants if you make mistake number 2. And this one's so common that even experienced gardeners fall into this trap every single season. Mistake 2: using garden soil in containers. Garden soil in containers is like trying to run a marathon while holding your breath. It might work briefly, but disaster is inevitable. This mistake kills more container plants than any disease because garden soil, no matter how rich and beautiful in the ground, becomes a suffocating prison when confined to pots. The science is simple but crucial. Garden soil compacts in containers, creating dense masses that prevent proper air circulation to roots. Plants need oxygen at their root level just as much as they need water and nutrients. Garden soil's structure, perfect for ground-level growing, becomes too heavy and dense when removed from its natural environment. Even worse, garden soil often contains weed seeds, fungal spores and pest eggs that create ongoing problems in the controlled environment of container growing. You're essentially importing trouble directly into your carefully planned container gardens. The transformation happens when you invest in high-quality potting mix specifically formulated for container growing. These blends contain ingredients like perlite, vermiculite, and coconut coir that maintain soil structure, provide excellent drainage while retaining appropriate moisture, and stay loose enough for healthy root development. Yes, quality potting mix costs more upfront, but it's the foundation of container success. Skimping here guarantees failure everywhere else. Speaking of foundations for success, mistake number 3 involves something that seems so basic, yet it's responsible for more plant deaths than any disease or pest you can imagine. Mistake 3: deadly drainage disasters. Poor drainage kills more container plants than all other factors combined. Yet it's the most misunderstood aspect of container gardening. Most gardeners focus on watering frequency while completely ignoring whether water can actually escape their containers, an oversight that creates root rot, fungal diseases, and mysterious plant deaths. The fundamental rule: every single container must have drainage holes, and those holes must be large enough and numerous enough to allow rapid water exit. Those beautiful decorative pots without holes, they're plant death traps unless you drill drainage holes or use them as outer decorative sleeves for properly draining inner pots. But drainage disasters go deeper than missing holes. Many gardeners block existing drainage with saucers that create standing water, or they place containers directly on solid surfaces where water can't escape properly. Others add gravel to pot bottoms, making it improves drainage when actually it creates a perched water table that keeps soil saturated longer. The solution requires understanding drainage physics. Water must move freely through soil and exit containers completely. Use pot feet to elevate containers above surfaces, empty saucers after watering, and ensure drainage holes are at the very bottom of containers. When drainage works properly, you can water thoroughly without fear. Excess water escapes quickly, leaving soil perfectly moist but never waterlogged. Now that you've got drainage mastered, let's talk about mistake number 4, the one that catches even gardeners who think they've got watering figured out. And it's probably happening to your plants right now. Mistake 4: watering mistakes that kill. Watering seems straightforward until you realize that most container plant deaths result from watering mistakes, both overwatering and underwatering, often by the same gardener on the same plants. Container watering requires completely different techniques than garden bed watering, and using ground gardening methods in containers leads to disaster. The overwatering trap catches gardeners who water on schedules rather than plant needs. Containers dry at different rates depending on size, material, weather, and plant maturity. That daily watering schedule might be perfect in June but deadly in September when plants need less water and temperatures drop. Underwatering happens just as frequently, especially with small containers that dry completely between waterings. When potting mix becomes bone dry, it actually repels water rather than absorbing it. Gardeners think they're watering thoroughly, but water runs off and down container sides, never reaching root zones. The professional approach transforms watering success. Check soil moisture daily by inserting your finger 2 inches deep, water thoroughly until water runs from drainage holes, then wait until soil approaches dryness before watering again. This deep, infrequent watering encourages strong root development while preventing both drought stress and root rot. Learn to read your plants. Slightly drooped leaves indicate thirst, while yellowing lower leaves often signal overwatering. But perfect watering techniques won't save plants from mistake number 5, an invisible killer that's lurking right where you least expect it. Mistake 5: ignoring container microclimates. Containers create their own unique microclimates that can be dramatically different from surrounding garden conditions. Yet most gardeners place containers without considering these invisible but powerful environmental factors. This oversight leads to plants struggling in locations where they should thrive, creating frustration and failure that's completely avoidable. Container microclimates are more extreme than ground-level growing conditions. Dark containers in full sun create root cooking temperatures that can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit, while containers near walls experience reflected heat that increases stress dramatically. Wind exposure that barely affects ground plants can desiccate container plants rapidly, because their limited root systems can't replace lost moisture quickly enough, Even container material affects plant health significantly. Terracotta pots breathe but dry quickly. Plastic retains moisture but can overheat. Metal containers conduct temperature extremes, and dark colors absorb heat while light colors reflect it. These factors compound location effects, creating success or failure scenarios before you even choose plants. The solution requires understanding and working with container microclimates rather than fighting them. Use light-colored containers in hot locations. Group containers for mutual protection from wind. Provide afternoon shade in extreme heat climates, and choose container materials that complement your environmental conditions. Position containers where they'll receive appropriate light without temperature extremes, and remember that you can move containers to optimize conditions. One of container gardening's greatest advantages, even with perfect conditions. Mistake number 6 destroys more beautiful container designs than any other factor, and it happens at the very beginning before you even plant a single seed. Mistake 6: plant selection catastrophes. Choosing the wrong plants for container growing is like casting actors for roles they're completely unsuited to perform. No matter how talented they are, failure is inevitable. Many plants that thrive beautifully in garden beds become struggles or disasters when confined to containers, while other plants actually perform better in containers than in ground. The container plant selection disaster often begins with size misunderstanding. Gardeners choose plants based on their current size rather than mature size, creating overcrowded containers where plants compete for limited resources. A tomato plant that needs 20 gallons of soil gets planted in a 5-gallon container with peppers and herbs, ensuring everything struggle. Root system compatibility creates another selection challenge. Deep-rooted plants suffer in shallow containers, while spreading plants quickly outgrow container boundaries. Plants with similar water and nutrient needs should be grouped together, yet gardeners often combine drought-tolerant succulents with moisture-loving flowers, creating impossible care situations. The transformation happens when you choose plants specifically suited to container culture. Look for compact varieties, plants bred for container growing, and combinations with similar care requirements. Research mature sizes before planting. Understand each plant's root system needs and select varieties known for container success. The best container gardens feature plants that not only tolerate container conditions, but actually prefer them to ground growing. Finally, mistake number 7 is the silent killer that destroys even perfectly planned container gardens. And most gardeners don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Mistake 7: neglecting container maintenance. Container gardens require ongoing maintenance that ground gardens don't need. Yet many gardeners treat containers like permanent installations that can be planted once and left alone. This neglect leads to declining performance, shortened plant lifespan, and container gardens that start beautifully but deteriorate steadily throughout the growing season. Container soil depletes nutrients faster than garden soil because frequent watering leaches nutrients away rapidly. Plants in containers consume available nutrients quickly since they can't spread roots to find fresh soil. Without regular fertilization, even the most carefully planted containers become nutrient-starved and begin declining within weeks. Root binding creates another maintenance challenge unique to containers. As plants grow, their roots fill available space and begin circling container walls. Root-bound plants struggle to absorb water and nutrients efficiently, leading to mysterious declining performance despite apparently good care. Physical container maintenance gets overlooked until problems become serious. Salt buildup from fertilizers and water creates toxic conditions. Containers crack or deteriorate, and drainage holes become blocked with roots or debris. These seemingly minor issues compound into major problems that destroy plant health. The professional maintenance approach prevents problems before they develop. Fertilize regularly with water-soluble fertilizers. Check for root binding and repot when necessary. Clean containers between seasons. Flush soil occasionally to prevent salt buildup, and replace potting mix annually for long-term containers. This proactive maintenance keeps container gardens thriving from spring planting through final harvest. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the 7 deadly mistakes that destroy container gardening dreams and how to avoid every single one. Whether you're choosing proper container sizes, selecting appropriate potting mix, ensuring perfect drainage, mastering watering techniques, understanding microclimates, selecting suitable plants, or maintaining ongoing container health, remember that knowledge is the foundation of gardening success. Container gardening transforms outdoor spaces because it offers control, flexibility and beauty in compact packages. When done correctly, containers produce better results than ground gardens: more flowers, bigger vegetables, and longer seasons of beauty. The key is understanding that container gardening isn't just gardening with different tools, it's an entirely different discipline with its own requirements and rewards. These 7 mistakes destroy more container gardens than weather, pests, and diseases combined, yet every single one is completely preventable. Armed with this knowledge, you're now prepared to create container gardens that thrive spectacularly while your neighbors wonder what your secret might be. Container gardening democratizes beautiful outdoor spaces because it works everywhere. Balconies, patios, decks, and even indoor locations with adequate light. You don't need perfect soil, ideal climate, or extensive space. You just need to avoid these 7 critical mistakes while applying proven container techniques. We hope you feel empowered to transform your container gardening approach, confident that you can avoid these common pitfalls while creating the thriving container paradise you've always envisioned. If this information helped shift your perspective on container growing, don't forget to subscribe to Daily Garden Fix. Tap that like button and comment below with which mistake you've been making and how you plan to fix it. Until next time, may your containers be properly sized, perfectly drained, and filled with thriving plants that bring joy to every season. See you in the next episode, where we'll explore the secrets of container garden success.